I never get used to the fact that most of the time it looks like you're doing nothing.
Mad Men is the American period drama set in the 1960s, created by Matthew Weiner in 2007. The show is set in the fictional advertising agency Sterling Cooper on Madison Avenue in Manhattan and follows the life of main character and company's lead creative, Don Draper, and his colleagues. Mad Men is often cited as the greatest television programme of all time, and is an integral part of the golden age of TV in the early 21st century. There are a total of 92 episodes spanning 7 seasons.
So far, this is all we have, but I want you to find out everything you can on Heinz ketchup.
What?
And this is not a joke.
Here are 20 facts about Mad Men to make you feel a little like Don Draper. These include who initially auditioned for Peggy Olsen, whether the cigarettes smoked on set were real, and what surprising beauty ritual Jon Hamm had to do 3 times a day while filming. The name Mad Men, as described in the show's pilot episode, is said to be a slang term used by ad executives in the 1950s to describe themselves whilst working on Madison Avenue, New York. However, there isn't a lot of proof that this was a real term used in the era and was probably brought into public consciousness solely by the series itself.
That's the way it works. There are no credits on commercials.
But you got the Clio!
It's your job. I give you money, you give me ideas.
And you never say thank you!
That's what the money is for!
Showrunner Matthew Weiner was working as a staff writer on the Ted Danson sitcom Becca in 2000. He wrote the first speculative script for the pilot Mad Men. He later showed it to David Chase, the producer of The Sopranos, who hired him later to work as a writer on the HBO series. Unfortunately, Weiner and his team were unable to get Mad Men funded by HBO, and David Chase turned down the role of producer. HBO's CEO Richard Plepler has been cited saying that turning down Mad Men was one of his greatest regrets. Weiner states that The Sopranos had been a big influence on Mad Men and how it was shot, including weaving the emotion of Peggy's unplanned pregnancy in season 1 throughout the storyline as the show went on.
I wanted to see you tonight.
Matthew Weiner and the writers of Mad Men had achieved bucket loads of research to make sure that every aspect of the series was historically accurate for the 1960s. This included looking at set design, costume design, and props, including incorporating realistic amounts of smoking and drinking alcohol in scenes, despite differing attitudes in the present day. Jon Hamm, who plays Don Draper, has confirmed in interviews that the cigarettes smoked on set were herbal and contained no nicotine or tobacco.
It's toasted. I get it.
In order to keep all of the scenes historically accurate, the production team on Mad Men needed a hefty budget with each episode, amassing up to $2.5 million to shoot. The pilot episode was said to have had a budget of $3 million. Ahead of Mad Men's 5th season, creator Matthew Weiner was said to have signed a $30 million contract for the next 3 seasons. The show's international syndication was said to have reached up to $700,000 per episode during its 7-year run. It was rumoured that Netflix signed a video deal of between $71 to $100 million to have Mad Men available on its service in 2011. The opening titles to Mad Men reflect Weiner's fascination with Hitchcock most noticeably, playing homage to the posters of North by Northwest in 1959 and Vertigo in 1958. Weiner talks openly about how the introduction of the contraceptive pill in the 1960s was the largest change in the entire world. Suddenly, women could choose whether to be pregnant or have children, and the world opened up for them, and attitudes had to shift. You can see this struggle in all of the female characters in Mad Men. Betty wants the life of a younger woman in society, which she cannot have as she already has 3 children. Peggy chooses to not have a baby and to focus on her career, still a taboo at the beginning of attitudes changing. Megan is met with suspicion and criticism when she clearly wants to pursue her career, even when she's married. The pilot takes place in around March 1960, and the show spans 10 years, ending in October 1970. Nearly a year spans between creating the pilot episode Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and episode 2 of season 1, Ladies' Room.
Do you know what you did to Freddie Rumsen?
For just cause.
You didn't have to tell Don. You told on Mr. Rumsen.
Do you mind?
In 2010, a series of limited edition Barbie and Ken dolls were released for collectors depicting Joan Holloway, Roger Sterling, Betty Francis, and Don Draper. Mad Men showrunner Matthew Weiner featured a significant number of real products and brand names during the show, and many were advertising clients of Sterling Cooper Draper Price. These included Lucky Strike cigarettes, Heineken, Cadillac, Playtex, Chanel, Spam, and American Airlines. Only Jack Daniels, Heineken, Unilever and Hilton were part of a paid promotion. However, Hilton handed over a sum of money to the show as a thank you for featuring them in a storyline in episodes previous.
This is the greatest advertising opportunity since the invention of cereal.
While season 4 of Mad Men aired, Unilever funded 6 retro advertisements that were played during ad breaks on US television. Products advertised included Dove, Hellmann's, Vaseline, Suave, Klondike, and Breyers.
Every great ad tells a story. Here to tell that story is Peggy Olsen.
Just a quick interruption to say thank you so much for clicking on a January Media video. If you haven't heard of us before, then take a few seconds to open a new tab, type in januarymedia.co.uk, and we've got a whole host of other videos, articles and podcasts all about TV and film. So if you want to find out more facts, have a go at some of our quizzes, and browse our entertainment-themed shop, then make sure you visit januarymedia.co.uk after you watch this video. Cinematographer Phil Abraham and director Alan Taylor wanted the show to have a clear visual tone, so created an air of mystery around Don Draper's character and shot most scenes at Sterling Cooper Draper Price set lower than eye line in order to feature ceilings, depth and the wider mise-en-scène. The frequent feature of ceilings caused more work for the lighting crew, who had to constantly move their rigs out of shot. Taylor is also said to have discouraged the use of steadicams and handheld shots on set due to their jarring nature with other footage from the era, so made sure each set was designed with enough room to move a dolly.
So Project K stands for what?
Project Kill Machine!
Matthew Weiner had to be alerted to any changes of the Mad Men script and didn't allow any improvisation on set. He rewrote every single script for the show and would only include himself in the writing credits for the episode if less than 20% of the original writer's work remained in the final shooting script.
Well, gentlemen, I suppose you're fired.
Before accepting the role of Roger Sterling, John Slattery originally auditioned for the role of Don Draper. He went on to be nominated 4 consecutive times for an Emmy Award and Critics' Choice TV Award for his role. Actor Talia Balsam, who plays Roger Sterling's first wife, Mona Sterling, is actually John Slattery's wife in real life. She was also the only actor to not audition for her role in Mad Men.
We don't make fun of each other's wives here. Understood?
Come on, I wasn't making fun of her, I was making fun of you.
Mad Men costume designer Janie Bryant discussed in an interview for Slate magazine in 2012 that she had a tradition to repeat one of Peggy's outfits from a previous season during the next season's premiere. This helps to visually show Peggy's self-made, hustling, down-to-earth character more and is more true to real working life.
What are you doing tonight?
Working and going home?
I'll let you enjoy that one, honey, but I was talking to Donald here.
For an interview in Esquire magazine, one Mad Men makeup artist, Lana Horachowski, had to make sure that Jon Hamm was clean-shaven at all times. During longer shooting days, she reminisces having to shave his stubble up to 3 times a day on set in order for it to be hidden on camera. The show was planned so meticulously that each hour would have instructions for the crew, including makeup, to adjust Don's skin with appropriate facial hair if the scene was taking place after 5 p.m. Martin Holden Weiner plays the memorable character Glenn Bishop, friend of Sally Draper, who we first see harbouring an unhealthy obsession with Betty Draper. He is a recurring character throughout the show's run. We see him and Sally meet up in New York, and then later he visits her dorm room at boarding school. Aaron Hart, who played Bobby Draper in Season 1 to Season 3, was the youngest actor to ever win a SAG award. The character of Bobby Draper was played by 4 different child actors throughout the course of the show, whereas Kiernan Shipka, who you may know from Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, played Sally Draper continuously throughout. She was 6 years old in Season 1 of Mad Men. Before reading for her successful role of Betty Draper, January Jones read twice for the part of Peggy Olsen, which was later given to Elisabeth Moss. Initially, she had reservations about accepting the part, as in the first few scripts available, Betty hadn't been given a lot to say and wasn't thoroughly fleshed out. In an interview for the New York Times magazine in 2013, Elisabeth Moss, who plays Peggy Olsen in the show, was asked whether Peggy and Don would ever sleep together in the plot. She replied, "I hope not, it's like the kiss of death to sleep with Don." Christina Hendricks also auditioned for another role, before landing her starring appointment as Joan Holloway. She originally read for Midge Daniels, a struggling artist and former lover of Don Draper.
Mr. Draper, I'm sorry to wake you, but Mr. Campbell is outside.
He doesn't know I'm sleeping in here, does he?
No, sir.
That's good.
Before landing the role of Megan, Jessica Paré auditioned for the role of Rachel Menken, Don's one that got away businesswoman from season 1, and Jane Siegel, Roger's secretary then second wife. Recommended by Jon Hamm, Sarah Silverman was also offered an audition for the role of Rachel Menken. Rumour has it Julia Ormond, who stars in the role of Megan's mother, Marie Calvé, was such a huge fan of Mad Men that she once broke off a long-term relationship because her partner had seen an episode of it without her present.
Same price as a chip and dip.
A significant number of the Mad Men cast have been former child actors. You may remember Elisabeth Moss playing the daughter of Martin Sheen's President Bartlett on The West Wing, or Vincent Kartheiser playing Connor, the son of Vampire Angelus in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer spin-off Angel. We also see Trevor Einhorn playing Jonathan Mathis, part of the creative department, who notably played the son of Frasier and Lilith Crane, Frederick, on Frasier.
You'll die in that corner office, a mid-level executive with a little bit of hair who women go home with out of pity.
In the last episode of Mad Men, Joan Holloway asks Peggy Olsen to go into business with her, which Peggy subsequently turns down. We later see Joan has in fact started her own company under the name Holloway Harris, as you need two names to make it sound real. These are both her maiden and married names.
Why did you let him in?
He said he needed to talk to you.
About what?
I don't remember everything everybody says.
Because you're an idiot! I think I just broke up with Mark.
Oh. Really?
I think so.
So go home.
Nope. I'm ready to work. You win, again.